Hello IE. I'm talking to you from the middle of Tokyo in Minato-ku. And I tried to get a bit away from the hustle and bustle of Shinjuku and Shibuya, and now I'm standing right beneath the Tokyo Tower. Tokyo is a great example of a future city. I think when people talk about future cities, then they have Tokyo in mind, but it's not like this anymore, really. If you look around, then you see that all of these buildings, they're all from the 80s. And everything in Tokyo, except for a few new skyscrapers that are shooting up, are all from the 80s, before Japan entered an incredible economic bubble. Now, at the same time, the first time I came here, I was incredibly blown away by how well the infrastructure works. To me, this is a future city because it uses something old, all their technology and all their infrastructure that they have from the 80s, and they maintained it so amazingly. And the trains are always on time. For me as a German, this is incredible. And Japan has to deal with earthquakes and all sorts of other natural disasters, but they learn to cope with it not only on a personal level and on a social level, but also with the infrastructure. They can rebuild roads within days, which is puzzling people in Europe. So Tokyo indeed is an infrastructural, futuristic city. But not only that, when we look at other cities around the world that are very new, for example Singapore or Dubai, where skyscrapers are shooting up in no time and that are coping with incredible amounts of people moving into the city, then we see the actual value of the planning and all of the thought that goes into it. Singapore is coping not only by expanding their landscape, which of course throws up some environmental debates, but at the same time they incorporate the nature into their cities. There's actual very rare types of birds that you would only find in Malaysian jungles living in the center of Singapore, because there's vast amounts of gardens and the nature is incorporated into the building structures. At the same time, if we look to the Middle East, with all of these mega cities just piling up out of the sand, what we see is as well that they try to be more sustainable, which is one of the great keywords of a futuristic city. And there's a city they're planning and that is nearly finished called Magda, which is supposed to be the first city without a carbon footprint in Abu Dhabi and close to Abu Dhabi. At the same time, what we see is cities that are anticipating the growth. For example, Brasilia, which won even awards for its amazing city planning, anticipating that many more Brazilians are going to move there. At the same time, people have to cope with their environment and integrate it, like they do in Amsterdam, where they built the first neighborhood on the water, the first swimming neighborhood. There's even plans to expand it to entire island cities floating on the sea, but they don't. They're still way in the future until we are able to do this. What is interesting is that all of these attempts are made in order to make the cities engage with the environment and integrate. And at the same time, what we're also doing is we bring more technology into it. There's a city in Korea called Songdo, which is, let's say, the first city that is working with the Internet of Things. So one of those keywords again that basically describes that every household in the city interacts and all the data is recorded. We see something similar in Helsinki, where we of course have a great infrastructure and we also have a great data recording system, but it's all public. So it's not only about having the data, or it's not only about how we incorporate technology or how we get as much technology into it. It's also about how we make it accessible and social for everyone. And Helsinki is doing a great job at that. But actually, what I really want to say is that when the task is for me to envision a future city or the city of the future, I don't think about Futurama. What I'm thinking about is all the amazing things that humanity has already achieved. And for me, the city of the future is the first one that will combine all of this, that will combine sustainability, security, great infrastructure, and a great social environment for diversity.